It's Sunday night, and the show you've been waiting for is here. So, guys, how does Batgirl flip a pancake?
I got nothing.
I don't know.
With a bachelor.
Ah.
It's the greatest DC comic show on YouTube. You found Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend after we had a holiday in the middle of the week, kind of throwing the days off, but it is Sunday night, and you did find the show you've been looking for, Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Tim the Comic Collector is absent tonight, but we say hello to Signature King, Tony Fett. Hello, Tony.
Hello, everybody. Hope everyone had a decent weekend.
Yes.
Nice and soggy where I'm at.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we say hello to Comic Food 2814. How are you?
Hello, everyone. I'm good.
Good. Awesome. So before we
just real quick before we
Yeah.
do jump into things, I just want to let the chat know that in the backstage chats, Instagram chats, all of that, Lasso is exactly the same. He tells the same jokes, so it's not just for.
It's the same person.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely not a
We
show.
get those jokes all week long. Sometimes I actually have to even ask him to stop.
You have, actually. I think last night you were like, stop. And then I did it again. And then you said stop again, and I just stopped replying. So that's how I remember
so
it
quick
going.
with them, too.
Yeah. So before we start taking care of business, because it's slightly off topic, but Comic Food 2814 is here and it concerns him. I have been asked about this, and it's time to just get this addressed. I'm sorry if this isn't the forum that you're comfortable addressing the situation in, but it's been asked. So let's just knock it out right now.
Tony looks
Number
like he
one.
already knows. He's laughing.
I don't know, but I can
Number
only
one.
imagine.
Do you have a second Instagram account?
No.
Are you sure?
100% positive.
Okay. Are you denying then that the account Foo Credible Hulk is you?
Believe it or not, I'm denying it. Yes.
So
That
you
is
are not Foo Credible Hulk on Instagram.
I know where this
Even
is
though
going.
they've been posting furry books.
That is not
People have asked. You know they've
You
asked.
asked.
I didn't ask who. Someone else who is not on this show tonight brought this to my attention.
Tim.
Well, there's a lot of people not on the show tonight. I mean, you have to be pretty specific.
There's one that's supposed to be on the show tonight. That
Yes. No,
kind
it
of
is
brought
not me. I do collect the Incredible Hulk too, which is
you
kind of
do,
funny.
but no second Instagram account.
Nope. And no
Okay.
furry Hulk books either.
No, well, we can fix that.
No.
You have a lot of furry books, though.
I'd like to read a furry Hulk book.
Yeah, Furry Hulk. Furry Hulk would be a great title for a book.
Furry Hulk.
I mean, I'm a published author. Maybe I should write the Furry Hulk,
Yeah.
like one of those touch and feel books for little kids.
Right?
Jeez.
Mm.
No, man, it has to be Scratch and Sniff.
A Scratch and Sniff Hulk. That's
Where is
interesting.
this going? I don't know.
We're done with this. We are so done with this. So we'll start the show. First of all, if you're watching on the Rewind, it's great to have you here. And those joining us in the live chat, we start out by saying hello to John's Comics with Kids. Nice to have you here. He knows exactly what's going on, just like orange juice, 100% real. So that's awesome. We have Silver-Haired Bronze Age Babe Comics. How you doing? Good to see you. And it's getting close to time to have Shabab back on the show again. So, Shabab, it's time for you to start thinking about what book you want to review. So, we have Paul S. Hope you're doing well. Always love your avatar photo. I know what cover that comic book comes from, and that's always a favorite of mine. So, always brings back good memories to see your avatar. We have Signature King in the chat.
He is.
Yes. Oh, boy. We just skip over that and say hello to Kenneth Bird. Hope that you're doing well. We have SR 9000. Hope you've had a nice 4th of July. The Sniper Who, watching without sound. I tried. It's okay. Well, he's watching without sound.
Last those videos too. So
exactly. He's watching without sound, so he doesn't know that we're telling him that I did get the address. The email came days later, even though it was sent when he said it was. But Fu, you have shipped the book out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's on the way. You'll probably be. Yeah, maybe tomorrow, maybe Tuesday. So we'll say hello to Kenneth Bird. Oh, we already did that. We're saying hi to Kenneth Bird again because he's awesome. Comic Food 2814 is here, and Shabab's got an idea. So that's awesome. Ooh. Well, we look forward to having you back on the show very, 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 very soon. Sooner than probably you expect. Because I got a feeling we got a fanboy that's taken some time off, even though they're not out promoting their new Instagram channel, which is what I heard.
I'm noticing something. I think it's me. Every time that I have to take a 100% excused absence from the show, that's when silver-haired Bronze Age babe wants to come on and join.
Our numbers go up when she's on.
Maybe it's when I'm not on.
I'm not saying that because we don't want to get rid of you because I could potentially end up as the new whipping boy. Yeah. So we're not exactly sure about that now.
Yes.
But cool. So we'll talk about other folks that join us as the live chat progresses. What do we have going on for news? What was the big news this week?
Yeah, now that the Flash movie's calmed down, we're starting to get a little bit of news.
Okay, can I say something about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Indiana Jones movie didn't do well. It did worse than the Flash movie did. So is the Flash a failure or is just box office has changed?
I think the box office is different. It doesn't seem to matter when you go or what movie you see. There's nobody there.
There's like no summer blockbusters don't exist anymore. And I think it's because people know they can just wait a couple weeks and stream them. Exactly.
Going to the theater, I hate to admit it, but I think it's well, we knew it was dying, but it's at stage 4.
But what do you think about this? Because literally, I mean,
I
Flash did better.
I would have agreed up until yesterday. I went
what happened yesterday?
A show with my wife, and it was absolutely packed. Every seat.
Well, I'm sure there's
a superhero movie though.
I'm sure there's exceptions to the rules, but even the movies that I go to that aren't superhero related, there's nobody there.
Yeah, but doesn't matter on a Saturday packed.
Like, well, I can see a Saturday. I could see a Saturday, but the movie theater industry can't survive on Saturday matinees for
sure.
Stay alive. But I'm sure there's exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm usually one of the first people. Like, man, I'm going to the movie. I want to get there crazy early.
I think they need to stop spending so much money to produce these movies, and they need to focus, as we've been saying, more on the story and all of that. And, when the expensive CGI is needed, cool, break it out. But like, if you look at The Flash, it was the entire movie was CGI, and look how much money they ended up spending on that thing, and it wasn't worth it in the end. They could have done a much simpler movie without all the CGI. Yeah, you need some, obviously, it's The Flash, but,
Okay, is the writer's strike playing into this? Because
I don't think so.
Because there's no talk shows for these people to go on to promote their movies.
That's true. It's true.
It's tough to say. I don't know what kind of impact the writer's strike is having it, but
we'll know when it's over and we start to see if the box office changes.
Well, look at before the writer's strike happened. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't doing great anyway. Mm-hmm. So,
well, like Collect a Lot mentions Mission Impossible. He heard that was good, and that's a movie I'd like to go see in theaters. Like, it looks really good.
It does look good, but
that one will get me out, and Indy won't, which is crazy.
Yeah, and we say hello to I Collect a Lot. Hi. So, and we're also saying hi to Black Swamp Comics.
I agree with that too. Yeah, they need to spend their money a lot more wisely on these films.
Yeah.
I think that would let them take more of a chance too with some of these films, right? So that it's not all the same blockbuster formula over and over.
Well, let's use The Flash as an example. They said that this movie wasn't going to be Flashpoint. It was going to be heavily inspired by Flashpoint. At that point, just give us Flashpoint, you know? Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne, dude, that would have been so badass, you know? You bring back that kind of cast for that kind of movie, dude, people would have went nuts for it. Like a live action Flashpoint, dude, it's so cool. They could have done it. What a great way to bring Zachary Levi, the Shazam guy, into at least some kind of DC continuity, you know?
Yeah.
You can limit Henry Cavill's time in the movie to save on some money, but
Flash was on Twitter?
What?
Was it Flash or Indiana Jones? I'm not sure which one, Paul.
I
didn't know either one were on Twitter, but I didn't know you could see a whole movie on Twitter. But if that's the case, that's not helping.
No, although I hadn't heard that, so I don't know how many people knew.
Yeah.
Again, the fact that
only 1.7 million knew.
I just think it's it's crazy when they give us these stories that are inspired by other stories. You know what I mean? Like, that's stupid.
What it feels like to me is inspired by a story you love, but the writer's saying, yeah, that's just to clickbait you because I rewrote the entire thing and now it's better because it's mine.
Yeah, it's
never
better.
It's never better when it's yours. There's 2 movies called Dark Phoenix that prove that point both times. Your version isn't better.
Can you imagine Comic Fu if they did Blackest Night, but they said, oh, by the way, we're not actually doing Blackest Night. It's inspired by Blackest Night. One of the greatest Green Lantern stories of all time. And they screw it up on purpose.
I mean, I don't have high hopes that when they do Blackest Night, they'll get it right. I mean, I'm not going in with that expectation.
Well, no, and you're right.
Or please don't Superman, Batman, defy my doomsday. Like, just don't do that, and I'll be okay.
Well, I mean, you're right. You shouldn't go in expecting a shot-for-shot remake because it'll never happen. But if they're going to take one of the greatest Green Lantern stories ever and tell a completely different story, you know what I mean, with just bits and pieces sprinkled in, like, listen, if you're making a cake, make a cake. Don't make cupcakes. Like, just make the thing,
right?
And just be done with it. You know what I mean? But anyway.
And again, though, I don't think every movie can be that huge, big blowout movie. If you look at the MCU, the early ones, those initial movies, I mean, yeah, they had their scenes and all, but they weren't over the top like the Avengers were, right? But they were building to the Avengers.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I don't know.
They built the hype from the foundation up. Yeah.
That'd be weird, And it would be really hard to get people into something like Blackest Night unless you really build up to it.
Yeah. We'll see. But who knows? Like we talked about last week, Blackest Night could be a jumping off point. And that's okay. But anyway, I didn't want to cut you off last week.
We can segue into the news.
Well, I actually before we move off Flash real quick, and this relates to the news. There is one bit of news that with the Flash movie, it looks like they were thinking it was going to be released on Max in July, and now it's looking like August 22nd. I saw.
I mean, does it really matter?
I mean, it's 5 more weeks, or basically. So
yeah. No, if they said we don't know when it's coming.
Yeah. No, but that just shows you like they're still hoping they can get a little more money out of this, because once it goes on Max, like I don't think they get anything for that, right?
Well, I mean, that cuts off the box office numbers.
Just stop putting things on HBO Max. Stop doing it.
Because nobody's going to sign up for Max to go watch The Flash, right? I mean,
just stop. Just stop doing it. You can put it on Max, but like a year or 2 after it's been out. You know what I mean? Just let the run happen. You know. It seems like now, like as soon as the movie's over, bam, it's on HBO Max.
Hey, the last Wonder Woman movie started on HBO Max. Or, excuse me, Max.
Yeah.
Hey, let's say hello to Bub's Comics.
Bub. There are 2 actors being eyed for Lex Luthor.
Okay.
And they're brothers.
Yep. That's all that. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's weird. Alexander Skarsgård and Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. So, boy,
I kind of think the younger one would be better for just a very superficial reason. Because the older one, he's so much taller. It just feels too tall for Lex Luthor. But like I said, it's superficial.
Yeah. Who knows? Can you imagine if one gets it and then they go to Thanksgiving dinner? That's gotta be awkward.
It's so weird.
You stole my thunder.
How does that work?
That's too funny. And we have we're starting to get some hard dates for some DCU stuff, but it looks like Creature Commandos is going to be first, followed by Waller, followed by Superman Legacy. So 2 shows before we even get one movie, which is pretty cool. There's another one on here. I don't remember where I put it. Give me a second.
And Superman Legacy, is that going to be... So we're thinking that's Lex Luthor then?
Yeah. Yep.
He's going to be in it? Okay. Do we know, is Brainiac going to be in it, though?
That's a good question.
Because both of them are part of that story.
Well, I mean, you can have Lex Luthor in a Lex Luthor villain place. You know what I mean? He could just be a guy in Metropolis.
Oh, yeah. He could be behind the scenes still.
Yeah. James Gunn has given an update stating he will not attend San Diego Comic-Con. Well, a lot of people are saying that this is actually a good thing for DC, so we'll see.
You see, there's a new Superman 75 coming out at Comic-Con.
Yes,
it's like a rainbow foil.
Yeah, rainbow foil.
Yeah,
it's kind of black, but it's almost like a hologramish kind of rainbow.
Hey, Glenn, hope you're doing well. I agree with you too. I think Brainiac is long overdue. I mean,
I agree.
He was supposed to be in Superman 3, the Christopher Reeve one. So, and we still haven't gotten him in a non-animated movie.
Who's the young lady who plays Nebula, Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh,
I can never remember her name.
She was in Journey, right? Journey 2 as well.
Karen Gillan or something like that. Karen Gillan?
I don't know. She is confirmed to a DC role. So I don't know. What character do you think she could play? James Gunn even confirmed she's in the DCU. She's coming.
But I mean,
I could see her as like a Cat Grant.
Cat Grant? I could see
I could see that.
But it feels too small for her. Cat
What about Lana? What about Lana?
Depends on how they use her, right? I mean, Jumanji. Thank you. Collect a lot, not Journey. Jumanji.
Jumanji. Karen Gillan. Okay.
I didn't even realize it was the same actress for a long time. Like that Nebula makeup they do is so good.
Yeah.
And hey, James Gunn took Nebula, who was a very in those movies in the beginning she was like a C-list character in the beginning, and developed that character so much that by the last movie, she was very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
good writing.
Yeah. So I honestly, if I could cast her myself, that would be a tough.
That would be a nerve.
Cheshire,
I could see her as Ivy.
Maybe Cheshire. But again, I feel like that's too small. Warner Brothers, I'm switching topics here. This is a completely different topic. Warner Brothers said this, and it kind of rubs me the wrong way. We look forward to collaborating with our most talented writers, directors, and actors as we create a world, integrated, multi-layered universe that still allows individuals or expressions, and our commitment to characters, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Harley. Really? You're going to put... Those are the only characters they name. They don't name Green Lantern. They don't name The Flash. They don't name Shazam or Cyborg. They went, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Harley.
What about Section 8?
What about Section 8? Or Six Pack and Dog Welder's dead to you?
Yeah, Dog Welder.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who that was until a couple weeks ago.
Look at the bright side. You'll always have work, Tony.
I don't want to. But it's who knows? I think we could get another Suicide Squad out of this because Viola Davis is still Amanda Waller, Margot Robbie is still Harley Quinn, John Cena is still Peacemaker. So I think it's possible, to get some kind of Suicide
Lady
Squad.
Gaga's Harley too.
Yeah, but for one movie, which, by the way, I am going to see that. That looks really cool. That seems really cool. Lady Gaga's
Gore almost thanking us for introducing him to Section 8.
Gore, we were talking about you last week at the end of the show. We were.
Yeah, it was an interesting show, an interesting story. By the way, if anyone who hasn't seen it, check it out last week's show. Or 2 weeks ago. I don't remember.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was an interesting story.
Which means we're gearing around to it being Tony's pick again, unless we can get another guest on before it's Tony's pick again.
Yeah. Hey, I'll just wait another turn. We'll just do another Section 8 story. No, that was a one-off. But Garth Ennis is going to be at Baltimore Comic-Con. Should I get him to sign some six-pack and dog welder stuff?
Too expensive.
I don't know. Too expensive? I don't know. We'll see. I tell you what, though, I'm up to 12 books for Jeff Johns. Wait. No, 16. 16 books for Jeff Johns. That's a lot, just for one guy.
That is. Do you know how mad I am?
How mad are you?
Very.
Why?
I am as mad as a wet hornet.
Okay. About Jeff Johns?
No, about your Baltimore Comic-Con.
Oh, that's right. You did talk about that. Yeah.
Because Tom King is going to be at your Baltimore Comic-Con that you're attending. And the Baltimore Comic-Con is the weekend before Wonder Woman #1 comes out. Could be the weekend after.
That's okay. He comes to local cons, so I see him all the time. So,
well, there's a signature that's going to need to be happening. And I thought it was going to be happening at the Baltimore. But apparently it's not now. Unless you can talk him in, Tony, to bringing an advance copy and signing it. And
I wonder what would happen if I slapped a copy down on the table for him to sign it.
How are you going to get one?
I think he's the type of guy, no offense to Tom King, but I think he's the type of guy to just sign it. They got him just so robotic. I don't think he's like really looking. But I could be wrong. But who knows?
But where are you going to get it? Well, actually, I take it back because comic shops will have it. Because when
comic shop.
Our Lunar, for the ones that are using Lunar as distribution, when I was in that situation, we had our DCs. We got them on Tuesday for the next Tuesday. So we had the books in hand an entire week.
Do it for Lasco.
I will see what I can do.
Be a hero.
I have a great.
Just put that S shield on your chest. Be the hero, Tony.
Listen, the S I wear it stands for
Tony.
something.
You could. That's a great viral video for you. Slapping down a book that's not in stores yet for him to sign.
Listen, my comic shop. I love my comic shop. We have an awesome relationship. They do help me out sometimes. I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do. Okay. I agree. It would be awesome if I could pull it off, but
hey, you could even tell them. You could even tell them after, if they need this for reassurance purposes, after it gets signed, you'll give the book back to them until that Tuesday when you can legally purchase it. So that way they know that you're not pulling any shenanigans.
Well, they know who I am. They know
That's
exactly
true.
who I am.
Well, everyone knows who you are. People in other countries know the Signature King.
This is true.
It would be a first signature for me on his first signature on a Wonder Woman #1 for Wonder Woman's #1 fan.
And it would be the first signature ever on that book. Ever.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
This has got to happen. Now, wait. If your shop doesn't use Lunar, that could throw a wrench into things.
Hey, no shame in asking, but...
There's more than one shop, Lasso,
Yeah, but he's got a good relationship with one. So,
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he can't go and ask other shops
That's
in the
true.
area.
and
I mean,
people are more than willing to help you out, especially when you go in with a taser.
yes.
Just go in, taser flashing. All right, give me the copies of Wonder Woman #1 right now.
Hey, if things were the way that I thought that they should have been, I could have overnighted one to you and had that done.
You could have. And I would have too, man. I would have. Darn.
That's sad.
It's very sad, but yeah, news, that's all I got. It's just tidbits. But other than that, yeah, I got nothing.
Okay.
But
if someone wants to get an assist ready, we're gonna segue into the retro review portion, and I did the pick tonight. So 3 Bronze Age stories. Surprise, surprise. Thank you. I collect a lot.
Don't disappoint.
Don't disappoint the Lasso. He's been disappointed a lot in his life.
Listen, man, don't make me feel guilty. Like,
does it work? Wait a minute. Does it work?
No, it doesn't.
Oh. Well, maybe we should test that.
Ask my wife.
So tonight it was my pick, and I decided to do. First of all, we haven't given Batgirl enough love on this show, and I thought, everyone thinks of Superman and Batman. I mean, they have their own team-up book called World's Finest Comic Books, and I thought, no. I'm sorry, I got distracted by this.
Needs another Section 8 to cheer him up.
And I thought, no, let's do something different. Let's feature 3 Superman and Batgirl team-ups. So that's what we're going to do tonight.
You and I are appropriately dressed for it.
We are. I'm not sure what Foo Credible has on.
Foo Credible. Yeah, that's right. He's Clark Kent.
Yeah, he's like, don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry.
Some people don't like you now.
So this is a pretty worn copy there of Someone Has Loved This Book.
Yeah.
But Tony, you're up first with the retro review tonight,
right? Yes, I am. Question: when did this come out? I was looking for a date. 73. I see it.
70. Yeah. So 73 and 74, and then we jump, I think, until 1980 for a wild weekend in Washington.
Yeah, wild weekend in Washington. So it kicks off here with Batgirl kicking in a door somewhere where Clark Kent was being interrogated. We cut back even before that, and Superman and Batman are talking about some evil eye, some evil gem, and kind of, Superman, one of his weaknesses is magic or whatever. But Batman is saying, listen, I got this project coming up here with Senator Clearly. The one senator? Anyway, so some senator was asking him to help develop some kind of solar disintegrator. So he's like, listen, I can't help you with your project. And this is kind of cool because Superman and Batman are doing something, and they're just, when I read this, I thought about my friends, like, hey man, I'd love to help you with whatever you're working on, but I got something going on back here. If you could not tell my wife I'm working on a surprise, that'd be great. But at this point, Superman's like, hey, I'm going to go to Washington. It's Clark Kent. I can figure this out by myself. I'll just, call up my good friend Barbara Gordon. At this point, neither one of them know that Barbara Gordon is Batgirl. So keep that in mind as the story goes on. And then as Superman is flying Batman back to Gotham, Batman has a really weird, cringy line when he's describing Batgirl. He says, Babs is a cute, sunshiny little redhead. It's weird to see Batman talk about, another, but anyway, I digress. Superman says, yep, I'm going off to Washington. So I got my ticket. And what's really funny here is he's going to be late to the plane. This is back then when getting on the plane, he ran out of the tarmac. So, it was weird. So he uses his cold breath to freeze the hinge on the plane to like keep it open while he gets on the plane. So he's getting his seat. He's flying to Washington. We cut over to Babs here, and she gets a phone call from Clark Kent, and she's like, hey, I'm in town. Let's link up. We got to talk about the reception for the Emperor of Ethiopia. He's coming to the White House. I'm interested. Let's talk about it. And he's saying, listen, I got to play this. I had to play this off because she knows Clark Kent. She doesn't know Superman. So hopefully we don't have to come together. So they get to the party. There's a lot of people at this party from different diplomatic agencies, and Clark Kent is talking to Babs here, and he was just Clark. I don't know how to explain this. Clark Kent was could have been exposed to something, maybe kryptonite, but he blurted out a secret about the solar disintegrator that he was working on. Not he, but Batman is working on for the senator. And at the same time, Babs kind of pulls him outside, like, "Hey, listen, had a great time, but we got to end things right here. You can't be talking about that stuff." We cut back to Superman outside, and some random crook has a kryptonite spray ring. I don't know how he would have got that, but he sprays it into Clark Kent's face. I don't know how this part kind of doesn't make sense, because they would have to know that Clark Kent is Superman. You know what I mean? He can't just go around spraying people in the face with kryptonite. But anyway, so
he says he's going to fake unconsciousness to find out what these crooks want with Clark Kent.
That's true, but he gives them all the information that they want. Yeah. Like, he just spills the beans. So that tells me that kryptonite worked. I mean, whatever. Anyway, so Clark is unconscious, and he's brought to a room to get interrogated. Batgirl goes to the FBI and kind of tells the FBI about what just happened. She zips back to her hotel room, turns on or changes into her Batgirl's costume, and she's tracking down that black limousine. And how does she do that? The old-fashioned way. Ask a cab driver. Which I think is pretty funny. One of the greatest detectives, allegedly, of that generation. And she's just asking any old cab driver, "Hey, have you seen this black limousine?" But anyway, she finds the garage where they're hiding out at, and she's listening through the door, and she can tell that Clark Kent is in there, and he's just spilling the beans about everything. And they put him in a room. After he gets put in the room, you're right, he's kind of faking it, but he makes the guards come back by covering up his camera. He can see through the walls, of course. But Batgirl comes in. She starts beating up bad guys, and then all of a sudden Superman comes in, and the bad guys are freaking out. But anyway, this one here, I got to point out, Superman says, "Brace yourself for the fireworks," and he puts this cape, his indestructible cape, as he calls it, around Batgirl. Indestructible cape. I've never heard it like that before. So it's just kind of cheesy. These old ones right here. And by the way, here's a comic. If you needed to get some tips about how to tell off your boss that you're learning, I've been learning electronics.
Wow.
Yeah. He was 7 minutes late for his job. They charged him an hour off his pay period. 7 minutes late.
He showed them.
I don't even know if that's legal. So anyway, they come into the other room, and they just get blasted with gunfire. But Superman makes light work of them. They have rocket launchers. Superman realizes he can't see through the walls, so obviously they're lined with lead. So he starts bashing the walls. Batgirl ditches a cape and goes after the main guy. We don't know his name yet, but he's one of the main guys. She tackles another gentleman. Superman, this story is all over the place. He can't see through the walls, but he knows where the secret tunnel is. How does he know that? And he just appears there. Whatever. So, and he knows the bad guy's name is Mr. J, not the Joker, but it's just Mr. J. So he confronts Mr. J. They quickly make do with everybody, and then Batgirl remembers, holy cow, Clark Kent is still back there. We got to go get Clark Kent. So Superman comes up with a quick plan. He says, look, this Mr. J guy kind of looks like Clark Kent. I'm going to put the glasses on him, pinch his nerve to make him unconscious, zip back there, and sure enough, he's face down conveniently inside this detention facility. And Superman kind of picks him up and he's like, listen, I'm going to take care of, Clark Kent. You go whatever you need to do. So Superman actually takes him to FBI headquarters and turns him in, which I think is funny. So Barbara Gordon and Clark Kent meet up, or outside the hospital when Clark is released, and they're talking about what happened, and this Mr. J was ahead of some super secret spy network, but it's all okay because the FBI is on top of it. We cut back to Gotham, and Batman and Superman are linking back up again, and they're talking about this magical eye or whatever. And Superman's like, listen, I'm going to hang out here. You go in there and you take care of it because that thing gives me, it weakens me and I don't like it. So Batman goes in there and he's like, hey, you don't have to worry about that jewel, giving you a hard time and whatever. Superman's like, what do you mean? And Batman says, it's gone. It's a powerful magical gem and it's gone. Which leads off to the next issue, but we are not going to do that story.
Yeah. So I definitely have things to say about this issue, but I'll wait until we're done with the other two stories. And sure. I definitely am going to circle back to some things that happened in this issue for sure.
It was an interesting issue.
Yeah. So this is the same creative team that did 268, the issue that we just read. We jump now to 279. And this is 11 months later. So now we're in 1974. Once again, we have a Nick Cardy cover, Curt Swan doing the interiors on this story. And Fu, you can take it away.
All right. So we start off with this really cool cover with Batgirl falling, but she wants Superman to save Metropolis, not her. And as we see, we get something very similar here on the first page. She's falling to her death, but she wants him to go save the city and not her. So then we flash backwards in time and kind of get a sense for what was going on here. And we've got Clark Kent sitting in his office, and he gets a call from Bruce and Bruce Wayne. And so Batman's basically like, yeah, actually, I could use some help, Superman. So he's like, sure, yeah, I'll be right over. Goes over there and realizes that Batman wants him to basically take one of his old Batman uniforms and dress up as Batman and attend this charity event for him while he goes off and handles something else. So Superman's like, yeah, sure, why not? So that's what he does, and you can see this Batman flying in here on the string is actually Superman. So he does some acrobatics to get onto the stage. It's this charity event for children. He's playing the part as Batman, and meanwhile, over at Gotham Harbor, the actual Batman is observing these criminals stealing the oil from the harbor and putting it onto their barge. And so, and basically they're like, yeah, the Batman's off at this charity event. So that's why they're doing it on this night. And Batman must have known that. And so hence why Superman's playing the part of Batman. Very quickly though, they realize that Batman is, on the barge as well. And, it's at this point that Batman realizes that, and this is kind of strange. This is the only time I've ever seen Batman do this. Batman decides, yeah, I can't take out the whole oil tanker crew myself, so I'm going to need Superman's help. And he does this special whistle that attracts Superman's attention, and he switches back to Superman and flies off to help Batman. So through the ads here, meanwhile, Batgirl was in the audience. She's actually Congresswoman Gordon. But she was in the audience, and she decided she wanted to go back and meet Batman. Again, neither of them know each other's secret identity as Batman and Batgirl, but she wanted to stop by and say hi. She gets to the dressing room and finds Batman gone, but instead, what she finds is Clark Kent's reporter's press card. Because when Superman left in such a rush, he accidentally left his pants behind. So then this is kind of funny too. We see Superman in the water, not flying in, but apparently that was on purpose so that he didn't give it away that he was coming in, and comes in through the water here. So Batman helps him up, and they're on this little barge, and I guess they're making their way out to the bigger oil tanker, which is waiting 3 miles offshore in international waters. And the whole idea of this plan is they want to steal all of the Gotham's oil reserves and then sell it back to the city for an inflated price. So that's the big heist. And as they bring up this barge, who's there waiting for them but Batman and Superman, of course. And they, of course, make quick work of this gang of thugs here. And Superman actually picks up the boat, takes them back into Gotham Harbor so that they are no longer in international waters. You can see he's moving it back within the 3 mile line. Okay, so meanwhile, Barbara Gordon, she's like, how can Clark Kent be Batman? This is crazy. So she goes off to Metropolis to meet Clark and try to get some answers, right? Because again, she just met him, what did we say, 11 months ago in DC. And they actually refer to that in this story at one point. So she meets this guy in the elevator. He tries hitting on her. And of course, she does some personal defense moves on him and makes quick work of him. Goes in, meets Clark, and she's like, okay, Clark, why is your press card in Batman's dressing room? And the other part I love here is when they call it, ever since Clark and Babs experienced a wild weekend in Washington. If you had not read 268, you can imagine what you would think happened. So basically Clark's like, all right, yeah, there's a really good, perfectly logical explanation for that. But man, I haven't thought of one yet. So he's quickly trying to think of an excuse of why his press card was there. But meanwhile, the fire trucks come and he realizes there's an emergency. So emergency actually at the Twin Towers. And so he rushes off and leaves Barbara Gordon behind. She takes the elevator. He's like, oh, there's no room. Gotta go. And she's like, what? So meanwhile, he flies off. I like how he has to actually bust through the elevator in the building, so causing all this damage. Flies over to the Twin Towers and realizes that skyscrapers are falling down like as if in an earthquake. They're vibrating. And he's able to save one of the buildings by spinning around the building backwards to reverse vibrate it, I guess. But kind of reminds me of, what was it, Superman 1, where he spun backwards to reverse time. But meanwhile, there's this tanker is out in Metropolis Harbor now, and is telling them, hey, surrender all of your oil, because it's basically the same plot that we just saw. I don't know how they got a second tanker here, but they did. So Superman's like, okay, this oil tanker out in the harbor must be causing the vibrations because it's causing other buildings to fall as well. So he rushes off the harbor. Meanwhile, Batgirl changes into her Batgirl outfit because she's in Metropolis because she was visiting Clark. She realizes Superman's racing off into the harbor, but that's wrong. She realizes the vibrations must be coming from the only two buildings that are not vibrating, which are the Twin Towers. So she goes over there. Okay. So then Superman sees her over at the Twin Towers and realizes what she's doing and that she's right. So he chases her back over. They both arrive at the same time. And sure enough, they find this old guy that's giving the actual transmitting the message. And this is the best part. This guy's name is Jay Carey. And tell me that doesn't look like John Kerry. Come on. So we got John Kerry here trying to extort the oil supply from Metropolis, and Batgirl and Superman show up to stop him. He dumps the oil remotely into the harbor, and so Superman shows up, and check this out. This is awesome. He basically acts as a Kryptonian what do they call that when you suck the gasoline out of the tank?
Siphon?
I can't think of siphon. Yes. He's a Kryptonian siphon, siphoning the oil out of the harbor and then spits it back into the boat, saving the day. So there you go. And yeah, Batgirl's scolding this guy who's basically and the guy's like, oh, maybe he'll find some good mouthwash somewhere. Basically this guy's whole big thing was he's like, I think he like runs like an oil company or something. So he was just looking to make more money. It was silly. But the best part of all, this is the best part of all. So, actually, no, I skipped over it. Well, I'll come back to that. But so it wraps up here. So the excuse that Clark gave to Barbara Gordon of why he was in Batman's dressing room was that he was dressing up as Batman because he was playing hero for a day, right? Doing an undercover story. And here he is showing that he was being Batman for a day, showing how he did it with these harnesses and whatnot. And, it goes out on the evening news as like an expose, I guess. So that's it. That's and Lois and Barbara both kind of giggle at the thought of Clark being a superhero. Right? But I did actually skip the best part of this whole book. So let me go back and see if I can find it real quick. Apologies. It was actually when man was playing Batman. Yeah, right here. Okay, yes. So it's on this page here. In the third panel over on the right at the top, you see the square block of text there. We actually learned that Superman has another hidden power that we didn't know about. It's called super ventriloquism, where it allows him to basically mask anyone's voice with his Kryptonian basso. And that's how he was able to mimic Batman's voice and fool the audience to think he was Batman. It was his super ventriloquism. So there you go. You learned something new.
Pretty awesome.
All right. On to you, Lasso.
Okay. So we've covered 1973 and 1974. We're jumping forward now to 1980. At this point, Superman's team-up book called DC Comics Presents is in swing, and issue 19 featured, I think it was the only Superman Batgirl team up in the run of DC Comics Presents. They had some characters back multiple times, throughout
Not
the 100
many,
plus
but a
issues.
few. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a few back, but I think this was their only one. So we have an interesting cover here with Superman being attacked by like this bird-like creature, Horus, and Batgirl swinging in because it looks like she's going to help save the day. So who haunts this house? They're asking. We get into the first page, the splash, which is essentially like the cover again. It's a little preview of things that are to come. So who haunts this house is the story. Denny O'Neil wrote this. Joe Staton did the artwork for this too. So we begin on the next page. We go back 6 months, and there's this drifter, and he's in the desert, and he sees this light. And at first, it kind of acts like it's a mirage. And his name is Caleb Girk. And then all of a sudden, this mirage that he thinks is coming, it's not a mirage, it's a house. And he's like, he says, I'll be danged. Danged and a double danged. And ain't nobody gonna believe this. Ain't no one at all. So now we cut to present day, half a year later, and Clark Kent is at this house out in the desert. Barbara Gordon sees him. She says, Clark Kent, what brings you to this bash? And he says, business, Barbara. I'm covering the event for the Daily Planet. So they go to ask Mr. Girk, and he's like, oh, you want to know how I came into my good fortune? Well, it's as simple as pie. I found the house, and it didn't belong to anyone, so I sold off a whole bunch of gold and valuables that I found inside, and now I've decided to throw a party with celebrities, and I even needed a helicopter to bring all the big shots in. And they say, oh, speaking of that helicopter, something's going on with that, and it seems to be out of control a little bit. Well, Clark Kent realizes it is, and he takes off and changes into Superman and flies up to try to stop the copter. He's successful in stopping the copter, and he lands it, and, he's kind of like, what happened? And the pilot says, I'm not sure. I looked down at the house, and I just got this sudden urge to kill. I wanted people to die, and I didn't even care if I died, too. And they're like, well, that's pretty weird. And Barbara Gordon's like, yeah, that's odd, and I feel a little off balance myself. There must be something in the air. Then she's like, where did Superman go? And Clark's like, oh, I saw him take to the sky. And then under the cover of darkness, what happened is he changed back to Clark, and he came back. So, and the guest goers are going inside of this house now, looking around, and you see that thing. And they're like, what is this? I've never seen anything like this. And Caleb Girk's like, well, I tried to open it every way I could, and I couldn't open it. So Clark uses his X-ray vision to look inside, and he can't see inside. It resists it. Then all of a sudden, they're taken back by a guest starting to get into a fight with another one. And they're like, wow, what's going on? And once you know it, this man is deeply in need of medical attention, and Superman is there to fly him off to the hospital. So they fly off to the hospital as the rest of the guests are a little bewildered, but decide just to move on with the scheduled party, and it's time to, to dine. So they sit down and they start to drink some wine, and one kind of spits it out and starts getting really angry at Caleb, and he's like, is this an idea of a joke? What is that foul liquid? And Barbara's like, it's blood. And then things really start to escalate and get heated, and Barbara's like, stop, you're overreacting. And he kind of realizes there for a second, yeah, I don't know what came over me. And Barbara's like, well, I've had enough of this. And she goes up to her room. She knows something is happening. It's weird and terrible. And she can feel evil in the other rooms. And she's like, I guess the others can feel it too. So she knows it's time to change into Batgirl. And after she changes into Batgirl, she hears a cry for help. So she opens up the door, looks out, and she sees sheer horror. Like literally all of the guests are fighting, and they want to kill Caleb Girk. He seems to be the only one who's not affected outside of Batgirl. So she runs in hopes of getting them to back off and trying not to hurt him and to save him. So we get a couple pages of that. And as you can see, they're pretty aggressive. They want to kill him, and they're chanting, kill, kill. And Batgirl gets up to Caleb, and she's like, how can we get out of here? And he's like, we can't, but we can't get out of the door, but what we can do is try to get into another room. So Batgirl has an idea, and she takes the table and kind of pushes it against them to give a little bit more space, and they jump over the table and start running, and they run up the staircase, and they get themselves into a room where they're able to lock it. And Batgirl's like, okay, now how do we get out of the house? And he's like, well, it's not exactly possible. And she's like, well, what changed them? And why didn't it change us? And he says, well, I figured that we're different. I'm an old desert rat, been alone most of my life. I don't react normal. And you ain't usual neither. Some people wouldn't risk their lives or put their own necks out to save other people. So that's why you're different. And that's probably why that's not affecting you either. And all of a sudden they hear that the people outside know where they're at, and they want them to open up. And they're starting to get a little bit more aggressive in trying to open up. It's time to cut back to Superman now. He's taken the wounded guest to the hospital, and he coming back, and he can't find the house. And he's like, the house is gone. And he's like, how could it just vanish, And he decides to use his supervision. He switches it to infrared range to look around, and he detects a little shimmering there. So he goes in, but he's like, where am I? And he hears a voice saying, inside my mind, Superman. And he's like, who are you? And he says, call me Dr. Horus, a man of great genius and, as you can observe, great deformity. A century ago, my neighbors grew alarmed at my research, which had given me the hawk head of the namesake, the Egyptian god Horus, and then sealed me within my house. However, I survived by placing both the house and myself in suspended animation, but in truth, I pulled my house and my body inside my mind. That's where you're at now. And then Superman says, so 6 months ago, you decided you wanted to take another peek at the world. And he's like, yes, and I don't like what I saw, so I withdrew once more. And Superman's like, couldn't you close the gap between the desert and here completely? And he's like, no, I can't. I don't exactly comprehend my strange powers myself. And then Superman starts to take off, and Horus is like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to make a house call. And he tries to stop Superman by shooting him with a ray of lightning. And Superman says, lightning bolt, not a chance. And he's able to bust through as he's headed right towards the house. Then we cut back to what's going inside of the house, where we see Batgirl and Caleb there. She's still trying to protect him. Now they're able to break through, and this mob is just as angry as they were before. Superman jumps in this time, and he's able to grab a hold of Batgirl and Caleb, and they fly out of the house. And Superman's got Batgirl and Caleb, and they don't know exactly what's going on. And Superman says, well, he's telling them about this Dr. Horus, and he says, Dr. Horus projected his own insanity onto them. They're going to be fine once Horus returns us to Earth. And Superman walks into that, that shape that was in the middle of the house that they didn't know what it was, couldn't open. Well, Superman rips it open, and out walks Dr. Horus. And they're like, Doctor, you have to release us, and you have to release yourself and take us back to Earth. And so he uses his powers to do so. And then essentially he succeeds. The partygoers and the house are all returned to Earth. The people are starting to come back to normal. And then Superman abruptly leaves because, Clark Kent's got to show back up. And they're like, Clark, where were you? Did you see a man with a bird head? And he's like, no, I didn't see that. And then he thinks to himself, nor am I likely to. Horus chose to remain behind in the universe that he created. All that remains is just this house as a monument to his twisted genius, a genius nobody will ever recognize. I suppose that's as it should be, because he says that Clark was in like the wine cellar, and that's why he missed, or no one saw him, or no one knew what was going on. And that brings us to the end of this Superman Batgirl team up. So thoughts about the stories we read. Fu, why don't you go first?
I really liked mine. I thought it was a fun story. It was simple, but that's what they were like back then. And I like those one-shot stories where you don't have to get super involved in it if you don't want. So I thought the art was good. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Great. Any comments on any of the other stories, or?
I thought that yours was a little silly and kind of hard to follow at times.
Yeah.
I think Tony's as well. It sounded like it kind of like got a little choppy in places, but I thought Tony's was kind of fun. And it was nice actually hearing what happened in Tony's, because again they did allude to it in mine. So
I'm guessing that the writer is a Batgirl fan if he put her back in the book, not even a year later, from her first appearance. And I think that's a character he wanted to work on and enjoyed it so much he wanted to do it again. Tony, your thoughts on your story and the other books that we covered tonight?
I didn't particularly care for my story, but overall, I'm going to give everybody a 3 out of 5. Just because it's nice to see both of these characters who normally don't interact, get some face time. So,
meow to the Jackson Roy Kirk.
Sorry. Cool. But yeah, 3 out of 5. Man, I was up late with kids, so. Yeah, three out of 5. Mine was kind of all over the place. Didn't really make any sense sometimes, but I can't see through the walls, but there's the secret entrance. Like, really? Okay, but yeah, there is. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So with me, I thought mine was the weakest of the 3 stories. But still, that issue brought memories back for me because I actually remember the supermarket I was at when that got bought for me as a childhood collector. So when you have memories like that, the nostalgia just plays higher, you know? I liked both of your guys' stories a little bit better. I wasn't so familiar with these stories until I actually saw them, just saw the covers at a comic book show once a couple years ago, and that's where I bought my copies at.
So you own all 3 of these stories?
I own all 3. I own the DC Comics Presents since it was originally released, but didn't get these 2 Superman issues until in the last 2 years or so. So some comments to circle back. I like on Foo's story that it referenced back to Tony's story. I like that a lot. Now in Tony's story, what I thought was really interesting is, Batman saying to Superman, hey, since you have to go to Washington, would you look up this girl that is Commissioner Gordon's daughter? She's pretty lonely. She's a senator. Barbara Gordon's his name. And he's kind of like, I don't want to. Or he's thinking that. I don't think he really says that. But he's expressing to the reader, I don't want to. And I think that just makes him so human. He's like, I don't want to stir the spaghetti sauce with this cute redheaded chick. What if I'm not into her? I don't want to stir the spaghetti
Little
sauce.
did he know he was going to have a wild weekend escape with her.
Wild weekend
in DC.
Yeah, stirring that spaghetti sauce. And I guess he still doesn't know that Batgirl and Barbara Gordon are the same. Although I would be a little concerned by the 3rd time that you met up and, I haven't been around Barbara Gordon and now I am, and now Batgirl's back again. And vice versa, So
couldn't Superman just see through her cowl?
That's true.
I would think so.
That's a good point. Yeah, they don't really think of stuff like that.
I'm going to go 4 out of 5 on these. My story brought it down a little bit more, but I still have a nostalgia factor because I still remember buying it at the grocery store. And it's weird that you would think, because a 1980 book you think wouldn't be goofier than a 1973 and a 1974 story, but this time I think it was. But it's different creative teams as well. So, but I thought it was fun since everyone always thinks Superman Batman, that it would be fun to do Superman Batgirl, and plus, like I said, we don't give her enough attention.
Yeah.
And poor girl's movie got canceled. And so we're trying to make up for it a little bit, but
what sucks about that is they made it all the way to the end.
They did.
And then it got canceled.
Yeah.
That's the
I don't know. After what happened with the Flash, maybe they're happy now.
So
could have been worse.
Who knows? Someday there might be some type of DC Comics movie that pulls footage from the Batgirl movie, a la, Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, it's
Superman.
true. Yeah, it's true.
Just because we're not seeing it now
footage
doesn't mean we won't see footage from it sometime in the future.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah. And Jackson Roy Curt, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So I'll do, like I said, 4 out of 5. So, but it was just fun and something different to do. It wasn't a Section 8, but that's okay. They all can't be Section 8 stories.
They're all 8 stories.
Who would like to go first for a book show and talk about what's happening on our channel?
I will, because I actually have to get going here.
Sure, go ahead.
So, first, I as we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, I'm not gonna be here on the Fanboys for the next few weeks. It's summertime, so I've got some stuff going on. I will be returning in a few weeks after I'm done, but so not too much going on my channel during that period. I'm taking a little bit of a break, but I did bring my book show for tonight. Given that I'm going to be gone for a while, Tony, I was feeling bad because I know, at least twice a week, usually you're asking me to send you, a current picture of it. So I wanted to leave you with something to remember while I'm gone. So here I
I
go.
appreciate that.
Swamp Thing 37. First appearance of John Constantine. There you go, Tony. Just for you.
Thank you.
See?
Oh, you're so thoughtful.
Hey, you know.
You're such a good friend.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
Oh man, just a nice Swamp Thing. What do you think that is? Like 9.6, 9.4?
No, I don't. No, because I think there's a little bit of a tape pull in the back on the back cover.
Shoot.
But in his heart, it's a 10.
Yes.
In my heart, it's a 10.
Yeah. Well, Fu, since you have to pop early, I actually want to go first because I think you might be interested a little bit in a couple of the covers I'm going to show. Well, maybe not, but I just thought that they were kind of cool. So, book show wise, I want to do some of my favorite Batgirl covers from the Bronze Age. So here's one from Detective Comics when they were doing the Batman Family era. I think this is 484. I think that is a great cover.
Nice.
And then sticking with this on 489. That. 492, she's not on the cover, or is she? We just have her costume, which appears that she had died. I remember buying this at the same supermarket that I remember buying that DC Comics Presents from tonight. So, and then the last one that I wanted to share for the book show is 497, which I just think is a really good Batgirl cover.
Batgirl in prison.
Yeah, she was doing a backup feature in Detective Comics for a while after they quit the dollar format. So that's for my book show. Fu, if you need to jump, absolutely go ahead.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Yep.
We'll see you soon. In a bit.
Yep. Bye. So for my channel, we have a back issue of the week YouTube short dropping tomorrow, which will be on an Earth 2 heroine from DC. One that's gotten some attention recently from DC Comics. So
I know there was heroin on the Earth 2.
Oh. So that short will drop tomorrow morning. There's always a YouTube back issue of the week short to check out on my channel. This past week I did for my comic book editions video. And first of all, I want to thank everyone that has been checking that out. My last 2 weeks especially have done really well. But my video was called Guest Starring Wonder Woman. And I showed some books where Wonder Woman was a guest star on. Then I showed some of the variants for Wonder Woman 800. So that's already on my channel right now that you can watch. And then coming up this week on my channel, we have a book that I bought from Big Will's Comics. Of course, he's part of our YouTube comic book community. It's a DC Bronze Age, early Bronze Age key that I bought from Big Will's Comics. And then I have an AOK to share in that same video that came from Old Wolf 65. So that video drops on Tuesday on my channel. So be looking for those. Tony, book showing, channel showing.
Yeah. Couple different books I want to show. So keeping with our current theme of Batgirl here, we have Batgirl Rebirth #1.
Oh, Dabbing Batgirl.
Dabbing Batgirl, signed by Hope Larson.
Uh-huh.
We have the other cover, I forget which one's the A and the B. Okay, this is the A cover. This is the B cover. Mm-hmm. So you have them both. So there is your Batgirl. So we were talking about Comic-Con and Jeff Johns, whatever. I want to show this book to everyone just because it's really cool. I'm looking forward to get it signed. I get this signed twice at Baltimore. So this is New 52, Forever Evil, the New York Comic-Con exclusive cover. I'm going to get this signed by Jeff Johns and David Finch.
Nice.
This September at Baltimore Comic-Con. As to what's coming up on my channel, a bunch of shorts. But I've got a few things I'm working on. I got a whole box of not brand new, but new to me Superman books that someone gave me, and I want to go through them live at some point. Just because I think it'd be cool just to see what's in there. I don't even know what's in there. I just know what's on top. So there could be a gem in there somewhere. I don't know. But I do have one question for you, Mr. Lasso.
Oh, I know the answer without even knowing the question. I know the answer.
Okay, give me the answer.
The answer is yes, I did get gas station nachos after the show last week.
Oh, no, that wasn't the question, but I'm glad that was
gas station. Did you see nachos. I sent pictures in our private chat of the gas station nachos?
Chef's kiss. Those were the greatest. When is the bat mic coming? Yeah, getting too low. But anyway, so here's my question. I'm gonna ask you this, and everybody that's still in the chat. I want to ask. This is just for fun. So, if you could go comic book shopping with any celebrity, but the stipulation is they can't be affiliated with the comic book industry in any way. Can't be a writer, can't be in a movie or anything. They just
can't be an actor or actress that played a character.
Right. It can be a musician, an athlete.
That's a good question.
TV, movie, could be anything you want. But it has to be what someone would consider a celebrity. I would say I'm going to give two.
Okay, go for it.
I'm going to give my first one right off the gate was I feel like going with Luke Wilson would be fun. The actor who is a big comic book fan. So that would be kind of fun. And my other one that I was going to pick, Shaq. Well, you can't pick Shaq because he was in a comic book movie. So, yeah, he was Steel. You can't pick Shaq. I would go out on a limb here. I'm going to go with an athlete from my childhood. I want to say Randy Moss for the Minnesota Vikings.
Any particular reason why?
Just because, when I was a kid, everyone wanted to be Randy Moss growing up. And, at the time I was playing receiver. So I was like, man, I have to be just like Randy Moss. He is just a great player. So, and I love it. So those are my two picks, Luke Wilson and Randy Moss.
Okay. Now, if I asked you the question back, if you could get gas station nachos with any celebrity, would it still be those two?
Gas station nachos?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I would have to say Elijah Wood.
Okay. Got a Michael Jordan pick.
Michael Jordan would be cool. I'd say Elijah Wood because he grew up in our area.
Okay.
He's a northern Iowa native, so I feel like he knows all the places that we know, So it wouldn't be that far-fetched from him to see him at a Quick Trip or a Casey's.
Oh, can't pick him, Glenn.
Can't pick Nicolas Cage.
Because he's Superman.
Yeah. Could try, though.
Would he have been able to pick Nicolas Cage before the Flash
Before
movie?
The Flash movie, he would have been eligible.
Okay.
Yeah. He is no longer eligible. But that's a cool pick, Nick Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Cage, that would have been cool. But
okay, I have my answer. I'm going to give you two people as well.
Tom Brady. Okay, that's cool.
No, Tom Brady. I thought that was mine. But yeah, but him as Superman was in the released Flash movie,
and he's on the cover of the Superman issue. So
and he was Ghost Rider. That's true.
And he was Ghost Rider. That's true.
Yeah.
So he's now.
So I'm going to give you who. First, I'm going to tell you before I tell you who I really want to go with. I'm going to tell you with who I should answer with. Okay.
All right.
I should answer with Conan O'Brien.
Interesting choice.
Because he's a big superhero nerd fan.
That's true.
And I think we could have great conversations about books. And even though I can't afford a huge key, maybe we would be somewhere where he would buy a massive key that I can't afford. At least I could be in the proximity. I didn't buy it, but my friend did. One of those.
There you go. That's a good answer.
That's who I should answer with. But who I'm answering with makes absolutely no sense.
Okay.
You're going to love this, Tony. Are you ready for this?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Do you even have a guess?
I don't. I really don't. Because you're everywhere. I can't say like Gal Gadot or anything like
it can't be that.
You can't. But I mean, it should be obvious, but I
don't know. It can't even be Kathy Lee Crosby because she was Wonder Woman before Linda Carter.
Yeah. I don't know.
I am going to go with Cher.
Cher?
Yeah, Cher.
You're
she
right.
Qualifies, right?
I guess. Yeah.
And because I just want to meet Cher because I think she just tells it the way it is. And I think that she would be fun to hang around. And I know she don't like comic books, but I still got to meet Cher.
She seems like the type of person where her agent would tell her, like, hey, you're going to go to a comic shop. You're going to shop with comic books for this person.
That's
and
a good guess.
Dolly Parton, yeah. And Cher would think, what special needs kid am I going to go?
And it's me.
She seems like that kind of person who would just assume that it's going to be some kid.
I think she would say something like, "Are you effing kidding me?"
You know who else would be cool? I think is underrated, but I think would be a lot of fun. Vince Vaughn.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
But I mean, jumping back to Cher for a minute, do you know that for a while there was heavy rumors that Cher was going to play a DC Comics character in a motion picture? Do you remember what character that she was rumored to be?
Catwoman in Batman '89. Yeah,
not '89. Catwoman in the role that went to who is the girl from Devil Wears Prada? The Nolan Catwoman.
She wasn't going to be. You're way too old.
No, that's what he wanted. He wanted an older woman to be like mysterious, and that was his original take on. Oh, Dave Chappelle's a good choice.
Hey, there you go, Dave.
But Cher was his, and he said, "I want someone like Cher." And then, of course, it fired off. Cher's going to be Catwoman. Cher's going to be Catwoman. And I remember Cher came on the Ellen show, and Ellen just point blank asked her, and they said, "So everyone's saying that you're going to be Catwoman. Are you going to be Catwoman?" And Cher laughed and said, "No. What am I supposed to be? Some grandma Catwoman? I'm not doing that."
Exactly. She would have been way too old at the time.
But I think it's interesting. If that's the direction he wanted to go, how come he didn't recast another older actress, instead went with Anne Hathaway?
Who was younger than Bruce Wayne?
Yeah. Oh, she
Stephen Colbert.
Yeah, Colbert.
If
we could turn back time.
Yeah, that's an interesting pick, Cher.
Cher.
What if
she also has a lot of extra money, and maybe she would buy me a key.
Do you sports at all? Wisconsin sports? Do you have an athlete that you would pick?
Cher.
You can't pick Cher.
Why?
She's not my athlete.
She's survived more than most of those people in the NFL have.
I disagree.
She's been relevant for half a century.
That's true. That's true.
Okay,
so is Brett Favre.
No, I'm not as big of a Brett Favre guy as I like. Who replaced Brett Favre?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I like Aaron Rodgers better.
Aaron Rodgers? Okay.
Although the Gronk is fun.
Gronk would be fun.
Gronk's got a fun personality.
Yeah, but I don't want him to if I'm bringing in my LCS, I don't want him making fun of everybody. You know what I mean?
Oh, is he mean?
I don't know. He just not mean, but he doesn't know. I feel like he wouldn't know when to stop.
Oh,
you know
he's not appropriate, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
he wouldn't try to say it to be mean, but what he's saying would be mean, but he doesn't know better.
Yeah, I feel like he would take a joke way too far.
Oh, gotcha.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Gary Carter, is he related to Linda?
Gary Carter? Yeah, Gary Carter would be cool. Yeah, it'd be fun. Man, there's just so many people on this list. I want to go with Jesse Ventura just because he'll be like, "Oh man, you see that story right there? That actually happened. It's a government conspiracy." I love stupid conspiracies, so I'll just let him talk, and that'd be fun.
Although the next celebrity I'm going to mention does not qualify because he was in a DC property, I still think that Arnold Schwarzenegger should play Annie.
Annie?
Yeah, he's going to go, "The sun, it'll come back tomorrow. Tomorrow. I love you tomorrow."
Wait,
he was just one day away.
What DC property was he a part of?
He was Mr. Freeze.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Mr. Freeze. As most people probably did.
As he's hoping most people did.
As he's also hoping most people did. Yeah.
See? Sarah likes my idea of Arnold as Annie. "The sun, it'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Magic Lasso and Tony Vet. Yeah. Boom. I'd be the best at a comic book shop.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty cool comic guy. Although when I go into my comic shop, it's my normal comic book day. I go in there. They see me parking my car. They know what it is. They're already pulling my box.
That's awesome.
Right on the counter. They don't know my name, but they know
You
my box number. Like when I take my dogs to the dog park, they don't know who I am. They know who my dogs are.
Yeah.
But they got my stuff right there.
Did you hear of, speaking of the YouTube comic community and pets, did you hear that there's a YouTuber in this community, in the comic community, that is getting their German Shepherd to press his books? That's pretty impressive.
What? That's unbelievable.
I guess I gotta get me a German Shepherd. I didn't know they did that.
Comic book celebrities disqualified.
Hey, you're a celebrity when you have 14,000 subscribers on YouTube.
So at Hershey Comic Con, if this counts as a celebrity interaction, I'll take it. Mastodon recognized me before I recognized him.
Oh, really?
By like a tenth of a second, So he's like, "Hey, picture." I'm like, "Oh yeah, oh Mastodon, what's up, buddy?" You know what I mean? Like,
so we'd
already met.
Did you find No Good Comics at his dad's booth, or did you find him somewhere else?
I found him in the wild.
Oh, you found him in the wild.
Found him in the wild at the convention.
He's been buying up a lot of DC back issues lately, and what actually surprises me, he's kind of gotten into Supergirl. That's cool.
Yeah. That's an okay convention. I feel like it needs a venue change though, but it is severely better than the previous year. It was way too hot. I was trying to wear the whole King garb.
Okay, if you could go to a comic book store with one comic creator that's still with us, they have to be with us as of right now, who would you go
with a creator? Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns. Okay. Hands down. Yeah. What about you? I'm gonna guess. You're going to say Becky Cloonan.
Ooh, see, that would be tough because it's hard to pick between Michael and Becky.
Okay,
I haven't met either one face to face, but friends like you and Seeking Superman have.
Yeah.
And what I love is everyone raves about them. And
Roy Thomas,
I love that.
Got to meet him at Comic-Con.
Oh, Roy Thomas.
Yep, I got to meet Roy Thomas. I would include Becky and Michael as one because they're a couple. So
okay, if they're one, I pick them.
Okay.
If they're not one, I don't want to choose between them, and I'm going to
go somebody else.
I'm going to go with Jose Delbo.
Okay, why?
Because I loved his Wonder Woman art in the Bronze Age.
Okay, fair.
And I've never met him.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, Roy Thomas would be cool. Jeff Johns or Philip Kennedy Johnson for me.
Okay.
Just because Philip Kennedy Johnson and I have that, love for comic book connection, and we're also military, Army.
Oh, sure.
So we have a double connection. So that's kind of cool. So we have something else to talk about in case we got bored. But those would be my two picks. This is like every time you pick a celebrity, I'm trying to think in my head before you, like, I know the answer.
Sometimes I'm predictable, and sometimes
Dan Jurgens. Yeah, heck yeah. Man, that would be tough. Let's see, you meet George Perez. Yeah, that would have been great.
Hey, I want to tell you something, and this is the truth because people were saying this when he still was with us. You fans don't have a negative encounter with George Perez.
I don't really have a negative encounter with really anybody.
But him especially. I waited in line 4 hours and 50 minutes, and when I got up to him, he was as fresh as if I was the first person he had met that day. And he seemed as excited to meet me as I was to meet him.
That's good. I will say that Joe Staton looked way better this year in terms of health-wise, and he was active and he was up and moving. So that gives me hope, he's going to be around for a while. So
good, because
I know he's
we just read a book tonight that had his work in it. So
I'm running out of Joe Staton things to sign. I'm gonna have to start buying books exclusively.
What you need to do, you need to get some Huntress stuff or a Huntress remark since he was a co-creator of Huntress. I would recommend doing that. Get some of his All-Star comics books with the Justice Society because those are
Yeah.
always good. He did a little Wonder Woman too. He actually drew my favorite Wonder Woman cover, and when I told him that, he said, "This is your favorite cover?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, just like this, he said, "Why?" And I said, "You don't think this cover is great?" And he goes, "It's just another cover. It's not anything extra special."
Well, it is to you, and that makes it special.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, he's a super cool guy. I was like chatting with Joe. He's just like what I imagine George Perez would be. Nice and happy, and smile on his face, and he'll chat with you as long as you're willing to chat with him. I wouldn't have.
See, that's great to hear.
I haven't met Michael, but I met Becky.
Yeah.
Which was awkward.
Because she thought you were me.
Yes. Because it was right after your Instagram.
Right after we did our live stream together.
Like 3 days.
Yeah.
And everyone was trying to talk to her, and it was my turn. And I said, I'm here for Magic Lasso. I'm sure she heard something like, I am Magic Lasso. Yeah. Which would have been like, listen, could you grow this in 3 days?
I don't know. I don't know. I've done Stranger Things, so.
She thought I was here for. I had to no. I'm not Magic Lasso. Like, this is his book.
Yeah, she was about to go security.
Yeah, right. But it was a great interaction. Amy Reeder's up there. She was really nice and friendly, but DC doesn't utilize her too much.
That's too bad.
I can only think of a handful of things with her name on it.
Hey, so I have a serious question here, okay?
Yep.
And I expect crickets as a reply from you and the chat, okay?
All right.
But maybe someone watching on the rewind that has waited almost 90 minutes for me to ask this question is going to have an answer for me. Is anyone familiar with a comic book artist who's been published by DC, Brittany Williams? Because if you search Brittany Williams artist, nothing comes up on the web. You never see a Brittany Williams at a comic book convention. What's the deal?
Brittany Williams? Honestly, it sounds made up. Let me open my fancy app here and take a look. Is it common spelling?
Yeah.
And she's an artist, right?
Mm-hmm. She did a pinup in that Wonder Woman 80th book, Tony, that you got for me.
Yeah, nothing.
See?
Conspiracy.
I have a theory on who I think it is, but
I met Marv Wolfman. He's a cool dude.
I met Marv Wolfman.
Who's Lisa?
Lisa, though. I don't know who Lisa is.
I don't know who Lisa is either. That's pretty funny. We had the same reaction. I want to talk Black Label for a second.
Go.
Do you do Black Label?
A little bit.
Do you have a favorite run?
I love the Wonder Woman Dead Earth. I didn't like the art so much, but I liked the writing. That's what I'm thinking, Glenn.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm going to show this real quick, even though it's not Black Label, just because it's cool.
Let me pop it. Oh, yeah. Alter Ego. I'm glad you had that because I almost bought that for you at my LCS.
And I realized, like, after Hershey Comic Con, I could have got Roy Thomas to sign it because it has his name at the top.
Yeah.
But Black Label, I'm going to show you and the chat here a couple of books that I'm getting signed. But yeah, I agree. Dead Earth would be another one that's good. The Question, Black Label. I know this is book 2 of 3, but
that's a great cover.
I have the ones I'm getting actually signed. Pulled already. I'm getting this one signed by nobody. I thought it was a different book.
You're getting that one signed for Lisa.
Lisa, this one's for you. And gosh, there was one more. I can't remember now. Anyway, but yeah, I'm getting some Black Label books signed because CBCS now offers. Oh yeah, it was the Swamp Thing Green Hell.
Oh yeah.
Book 1. This is 2, I think.
Mhm.
2, yeah. But I'm getting book 1. Both by Jeff Lemire. Just because CBCS now has magazine-sized slabs, and I can get my other books that I have signed that are Black Label books, like the first appearance of a Batwang.
Oh yeah, I have that.
Signed by Brian Azzarello. I tell you what, I almost sold this book. $265.
Is that what it's going for now?
Not now.
Then.
When it was at its absolute peak.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got it signed, and the guy was waiting outside the Brian Azzarello line, so he knew it was authentic. And he's like, "Hey man, I got $265 cash for that book."
I would have done it.
I was like,
"Hey Scott,
I'm good."
Although at the time that was is that book a first print of that? Are you able to get that now, or because at the time you couldn't? Or
this is it's got it in it.
Yeah, it's got the bat pole in it.
It's got the first appearance of the bat
pole.
So yeah. And it's funny about this book is I didn't pick it up for my LCS right away. I was like 3 or 4 weeks late.
Wow,
and they that's a
good store.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a story back on that. How good mine is. So when everything started blowing up about that book, I emailed my LCS. I'm like, "Do you have one left?" And they emailed back right away and they said, "No, we don't." And I'm like, "Okay, I understand." I was able to find one a couple days later from another store. They had one copy left in store. I drove there, bought it. It was like an hour and a half away. Drove there, bought it, drove an hour and a half back. And then like 3 weeks later, I was at my LCS and they brought my books out. They had a copy of it for me. They said someone else declined to buy it. It was in their pull list and they decided they didn't want it. So we knew that you asked about it, so we put it in your list. You don't have to buy it if you don't want to, but we wanted to give you first option.
Well, that's very nice of them. Did you buy it again?
I did.
I
didn't tell them. I found one already. I'm like, "Yep, I'm taking it."
That's awesome.
So to answer Paul's question, favorite book of my collection besides Wonder Woman, Glenn guesses Justice League 1. I did think about that, but probably for sentimental reasons. And I've talked about this in different shows before. I'm not going to talk about it tonight. But my X-Men 101 for very sentimental reasons. Someone could say to me, "I'll give you an X-Men 101 CGC 9.9 signed by Stan Lee and every creator on the book. But in order to have that, you have to give up that physical copy that you have right now. You have to trade it." I wouldn't do it.
Must be some pretty big sentimental reasons.
That book. I need that copy of that book is the one that I need. I don't care if I have another one, which incidentally, that book is coming out as a facsimile, I think, next week. I don't care if I have another one. And for those that don't know, because you guys are DC guys, 101 of X-Men is the first appearance of Phoenix. But there is sentimental reasons highly attached. And I talked about it, and I almost started tearing up on Gary B's show.
Jeez.
One time. So,
were you on the 1011?
Yeah, I was on the 1011.
I think I nominated you for that.
I think you did, and I have nominated you back. Have you heard from them? I'm going to have to talk to Mr. Gary.
I'm sure he's got 100 more interesting people lined up than me.
He said he actually asked me to put in a good word so you would do it when he asked.
Crickets.
Well, I'll have to talk to Mr. Gary about that.
I would have done it anyway, even without you putting in a good word, just because
Glenn, look for the 1011 on Gary B's channel with me as a special guest, the 1011 with Magic Lasso. And you will literally see me almost tear up as I start talking about that. And I just don't, first of all, this is a DC show. Secondly, we're over an hour and a half into the show. Thirdly, I just don't want to emotionally go to that place tonight. So, but the story's
I'll spoil
out there.
It. Gal Gadot physically handed it to him. She pulled it out of here, one of those things, and gave it to him.
Yep.
A lot of good reasons to keep that book.
But the Justice League #1 is definitely up there. Hey, Carlito, we're just getting ready to wrap up, but it's great to see that you stopped in. We did some Superman Batgirl tonight in the retro review.
Yes. And I was Superman.
Yeah, and I got Batgirl on. Fu was in here earlier, but mysteriously had to leave when I started bringing up his new Instagram. Oh, I mean, he doesn't have a second Instagram account.
That is non-existent.
That he's going on the road to promote in the next month.
That's funny. He's going on the road to promote a second Instagram. That's funny. That's the coolest and 28 Bobby Clark. All right, appreciate it, Paul.
Yeah, thank you.
It, Paul. Yeah, and always high five to all you guys for always being in the chat
and to stay this long.
And to stay this long.
I mean, at this point, we're in rambling territory.
We are rambling, but I never get to ramble about books until Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I have nobody to talk to about books. We chat books obviously on Instagram, but like you know, it's not the same as this. So it's therapeutic, puts my mind at ease. Like
Tony will send a message and say, guys, convince me that I don't need these items, and he will get nothing but you. If you don't get these items, your life isn't as meaningful.
Yeah, Brittany L. Williams is an American artist.
Interesting. Thanks, Jedi, and thanks for being here.
I say fake news.
That's fake news. But you never see her at a convention.
Never even heard of her.
Well, see, I need her to sign that book that you AOK'd me, Tony. That's why I'm interested.
You'll never do it.
Well, South I might Carolina. Have to reach out on the website and ask.
Yeah, I wonder if she has a website.
Yeah, Jedi, does she have a website?
Yeah, Jedi, go look back. When does Batman 1 come out? Batman 1. Oh, I don't know. Are
you talking about the Night Terrors?
Because I think that if it's Night Terrors, I think it came out already. Or is he talking about like the reboot of Batman?
Are they rebooting that again?
Isn't it supposed to be Damian Wayne Batman now?
Oh.
Check the link up there. That's her site. Oh, there's a link.
I didn't see that in the chat. Did I miss that?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Crazy Ivan, how you doing?
I don't see
it in our chat. Here on
the comes through on you know what? Links don't appear for some reason.
Probably because he's not a moderator.
Yes. Only moderators can post.
How the heck do you get moderator status on this channel?
Well,
even I'm not a moderator.
Are you still Yahoo still going? Heck yeah, bro.
See, do you think he heard what I just said about him going on tour?
He probably did.
He probably did.
He probably did. That's too funny. Speaking of moderation, the other day I noticed I was a moderator on Foo's channel.
Oh.
Because I had a blue wrench. I'm sure he gave me one a while ago, and I just never really.
I've had one for a while.
Yeah, I never noticed. I was like, wait, why am I blue? Which is funny. That's pretty cool. No, I enjoy jumping on other people's YouTube channels.
You know what? I think he did go and get gas station nachos.
Who? Fu?
Fu.
I mean, the part of the country that he lives in, I can't imagine they're any good.
I didn't say they were good. I said he went and got them. Mine were okay.
Yeah, but you got them from a not a good place. If it's not Casey's, it's not good.
Don't have Casey's.
Get it.
I don't have it.
Every time I go back home, I see a Casey's. Pull off first one. I like the 4 hours. Man, listen, if you told me I could get unlimited free Casey's if all I had to do was slash all my neighbors' tires, it'd be dead already. You know what I mean? Like they'd be in those tires would be in tire heaven.
Oh, the facsimile.
I give friends mod status on like other hosts. Listen, I don't really do live streams just because.
If I could figure out how to do it, I would be more than happy to.
I'll show you. It's pretty easy.
Okay, you can PayPal me to become a moderator on my channel. Just kidding.
Yeah, he's got some books that he needs. They're expensive. Every penny counts. Cue the sad Sarah McLachlan.
Oh my gosh.
is the worst cardboard
This is
I've
okay
ever
for
had.
you guys.
Blasphemy.
This is what the private
Blasphemy.
chat is like. This is the private chat brought to YouTube.
Yes. By the way, Comic Food, that is blasphemy because I know you like Casey's Pizza. So I know you're lying.
No, they didn't offer either one.
A Midwest delicacy. You could do what I like to call the Midwest, fine dining tour. You stop off, fill up your car with gas at the gas station at Casey's, go in for a donut,
Get a little birth control in the bathroom.
If you need that. I mean, I don't, but that's okay. A slice of pizza, or if it was me, I'd get the taco pizza, the one they crush up the nacho or the Doritos on there. Whenever I get Casey's Pizza breakfast pizza, will literally make you sick for the rest. No, it won't. No, it won't, because you are some kind of pizza demon, and Casey's Pizza is like holy water. So, of course, that makes sense. But anyway, if you get the Casey's Taco Pizza, before you pay for that pizza, go get a real bag of Doritos. Give them the chips. Go pay for it. They'll put the Doritos in the pizza. Listen, it will change your life. It is like colors you have never seen before. Euphoria. Pizza euphoria. I'm telling you. I have traveled all over the world. I have had pizza in Rome, Italy. I'll take Casey's any day. That's right. My gas station pizza is better than what the Italians serve in Rome.
I don't even have a 7-Eleven here.
I got a 7-Eleven right down the street. Not that good.
I like Slurpees, though.
My daughter loves Slurpees. I don't let her eat the hot dogs because, it's been out for like 12 hours. Yeah, I'm not doing that. But listen, taco pizza, Pizza Ranch is better. It's okay.
Not Pizza Ranch.
I grew up in Philly eating pizza. You think Midwest gas station? Yes, I do. The answer is yes. I
Pizza
think
Ranch all taste the same.
that's good. That's good
No,
because
it tastes like cardboard.
They're a chain restaurant. They all got to change.
No, I mean every pizza inside a Pizza Ranch tastes like the same pizza that you just ate.
You guys have like mutant taste buds. Pizza Ranch and Casey's, best pizza
Casey's, yes.
of all time. Best pizza of all time.
So since this stream is completely off the rails already, so today, before I go to work, a coworker texts me and says, "You know how happy I would be if you would go get me a cappuccino before work." They said, "I'll pay you." And I
Do you
said,
have like a Starbucks or something nearby?
They didn't care where. We do have Starbucks,
Okay.
but I went somewhere else. And I didn't even reply back and say, "Yeah, I'll do it." I just went. So I go through Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru. And the first thing I say is, I need whatever it was. What did I say it was? A cappuccino?
Cappuccino or something.
Okay. I say, I need a large cappuccino. And the first thing I hear back on the speaker is, "I don't understand what you want." I'm looking at the board where it says cappuccino right on there. And they don't understand what I want. And then I'm like, "A cappuccino." And they're like, iced, hot, with the flavor shot, with this, with that. I'm like, God, they did say nothing about all this stuff. And then I tried ordering snack and bacon, and they wanted to give me hash browns.
I don't do coffee. My wife could say I want a whatever mocha, whatever. I'd be like, "Listen, I can't. 20 must have ruined palate eating army chow." Listen, I prefer that stuff way before I got into the army. I have normal human being taste buds, and I know great pizza when I eat it.
Does Casey's deliver?
They do now.
Okay, this is what you do, Tony, okay? You get on the app, order up a Casey's pizza, have it delivered to Foo's house. I have the home address. You have the home address.
Yep.
And make him eat it.
Well, here's the thing. I think the nearest Casey's to him is about 4 hours.
Well, then he should tip good.
Yeah. She tipped very well.
Ooh, if
Man,
someone's bringing you a 4-hour pizza, you need to tip at least minimum $20.
minimum $20.
Minimum.
I'm thinking minimum 100.
Minimum $120.
Yes, cash in nickels.
Cash. In nickels.
Buffalo nickels only.
We are so derailed off the
Yes,
stream.
but that's okay. That's okay.
Thank you for joining us for the greatest DC comic show on YouTube, Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. Remember, it's back on this channel again next week. Who knows what's going to happen? We don't ourselves. Until then, have a fantastic week, and we look forward to visiting with you again soon. Bye.
Peace out.